All right, all right. What is happening? Greetings.
And salutations.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Got the coffee? I'm sure you got your water or tea or.
I brought a coffee cup just to be part of the cool, to be part of the cool crowd. All the cool kids are doing it, but I had milk in it before, so
there you go.
Not that
there
tough.
you go.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you been?
Doing well. Camera on my computer's not working so well, as you know, so I'm sitting here using my cell phone. But you know what? Got to be resourceful these days.
That's right, man.
So
that's right.
I'm well. I see when I have the same beard, it's just that mine looks about 30 years older than yours. So that's good.
just kind of, Holly will be glad when these endurance events are over here at the beginning of the year. So I'll trim it down.
Oh yeah. You're just keeping your face warm while you're running. Is that kind of the deal?
Yeah. I mean, us, us folks here in Texas, we don't like it when it gets, below 40.
I mean, then you wouldn't like it below 20 either. Then I remember the Patriots were in the playoffs. I think it had to be in the playoffs. I think it was like January, and it was below zero, and they played below zero. It was one of those. I don't know if you've ever done this, but you go outside, it's so cold, like all the moisture in your nose freezes, and then you breathe, and it's so cold you start coughing, like that kind of cold. And they played a game in that too. I was like, what the heck? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
What do you got for me today, Johnny Kitch?
Man, I do appreciate you jumping in and hanging out with us, chatting a little coffee and coaching. And man, I really want to kind of go down the coaching within the real estate space rabbit hole a little bit.
Okay.
You were, our coach, when I got into in 04, we were, obviously in Proctor and going through that whole program and, have had almost all the time nonstop. We had a coach in a coaching program in some capacity, almost nonstop since 04. So, we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, it's, I think, easier now than ever to, slap coach on your name and, try to, peddle yourself out there that you can, help people accomplish whatever they want to accomplish. So I really want to talk, kind of, the perspective and really, in our definition of what a coach really is and what a coach is not. And, just kind of get your perspective since, like I said, you coached us, you coached our teams, first coach that, within the coaching organization. And so you've been around the block a couple of times.
I'll take that as a compliment, sir. So it's interesting because before I was got in real estate in 98, before I did that, I worked in the mutual fund industry and, I was a wholesaler. I was an inside wholesaler. And then I took a job as an outside wholesaler. And, there was a term that we used in the industry called, carrying the bag. So when we would talk to people who, would complain about wholesalers and stuff like that, and like, well, they've never carried the bag, so they don't know what it's like. And basically what it meant is, you've never done the job of that person, what I'm saying? And so I think, in order to be a successful coach, look, and Bill Belichick has proven that you don't need to play the sport at a high level to be able to coach at a high level. But I think you at least have to be immersed in whatever's happening.
Right.
Does that make sense? And I think that's the key thing is that you have to at least been part of some sort of experience where a real estate organization grew to a higher level of production so you can understand exactly what it takes to get there, And, I think the hard thing for me to appreciate from some people is, if you've never listed a home before, if you never sat across the table from somebody trying to get the paperwork signed, if you never showed somebody 20 houses only for them to buy a house from somebody else, like it's hard to empathize and to teach your coaching clients how to really navigate stuff like that. So, I think, James Rembert used to coach with us several years back, really, really good guy. They call him the Zillow killer now because he's been great at like helping people generate leads for themselves off Facebook. He's done really well, but I've been catching up with him on Clubhouse and, he said something interesting the other day. He's like, something to this effect you just said. There's lots of people that call themselves a coach, but if you're going to hire somebody, just to make sure that they're currently a practitioner or that they've been a practitioner at a high level, so that they can teach you what you need to know. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
And you and I have experiences that some other coaches don't have. I mean, Jay sold over 500 houses. He was, the second biggest team in Lawton, and only because, our good friends over there at Remax, they had a much bigger organization, right? They had a whole office. So, but other than that, you guys at one point, I think, had 14% market share, which was huge. I worked up in New Hampshire. Brian, we had our team grew to like 450 transactions a year, over 400 for 3 years. So, we've gone places into a level that, not a lot of other people have gone as agents. And so I think that brings a lot of, allows us to bring value and skill sets and understanding that other people just can't bring to the table, if that makes any sense. And that's not to say that other people aren't good coaches, because there are lots of really good coaches out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, we're friends with some of them. Some of them we coached and they started their own business, so, but, at the end of the day, you have to go find somebody who has gone farther than you are, so that you can at least take you that distance beyond.
Yeah. And there's also, another little perspective with that too, though, is finding somebody, I think, who you really align with and resonate with, that you share similar values with. And I heard the story. We had the opportunity to work with Clay Mask for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our best growth internally, personal internal growth was, being in that environment and working with Clay and his team. And I listened to a podcast Clayton was on earlier last year, and he talked about that he left his coach because he thought he needed somebody to take him to that next level of business.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really struggling. And so he ended up going back to his coach. And the reason that, he did that is because he really resonated really well with him,
Mm-hmm.
and helped Clay grow as a leader,
Mm-hmm.
more than he could trying to find somebody to work with that, had taken their company beyond where Clay's company was.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I agree with you, having somebody that's kind of been in the trenches or gone down that path or been immersed in that, like you were given the Belichick. What Belichick's, his 47th, 48th year inside of coaching?
Yeah, he's like 68 or 69 this year. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And so, he's spent 50 years in the NFL, right? You think the guy knows a thing or two? So
yeah. And he really never played it down in college. He played, I think his knee blown out his freshman year, and that was it. So
yeah.
Mm.
So, finding that person that really resonates, I think a person that can challenge the way you think and also point you in the right direction to solve the problems, resourcefulness as well, I think is really, really key. To talk on Belichick for a second, or because I know, such a,
I'm allowed to do that here?
Yes, you are. And and I think we see the same thing with Saban too, right? The guy's won 6 in the last 12 years. He's
7
won
altogether, right?
7 altogether. He's like, we're witnessing, history. And I don't care if you like Bama or not. And I'm not a Bama fan, but I like to pay attention to greatness. And I'm not a Pats fan, but I loved to pay attention to greatness, right? Pay attention to, the Patriot Way. So, you've studied that. You've looked in there and the insight, being a fan, and also, you study greatness as well. What are some of the key traits that why that organization has been the dynasty that has been?
So 3 words come to mind: proven, repeatable system. It's the truth, and I wish somebody had wrote. I was like, at one point, I don't know the time now, but I was like, geez, I wonder if I could get in touch with Bill Belichick or somebody and write a book called The Patriot Way, but I don't know. It's still possible. I guess anything's possible, but because you hear everybody say the same thing. You come in, they tell you what to do, and you just do your job. And that's the thing. Do your job. You come in, you do your job. I'll tell you where to be, what to do. And, for years, I think one year that was their mantra, to do your job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they had shirts that said, do your job. And they would coach. And that's why guys, they would be able to pull guys off of the heap that had not been able to do well anywhere else, or they had gotten a little older, and they could come to the Patriots because the Patriots had basically compartmentalized each position and made it so that they just had to worry about their job. You know what I'm saying? The offensive line's a little different. You got to understand, what's happening because you guys have to be interchangeable. So you need to know how to be a center or a guard or a guard and a tackle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, that was the whole thing. So, excuse me, they had a proven, repeatable system that anybody could step into, and they would bring people in, and people would have great success. And so, like when we talk to our clients, we give them a proven, repeatable system that works. I mean, how many meetings did you and Jay and Mike and I have with other people, or with just them, to create systems that they could put in their business so that they could get out of doing what they were doing? We help create all that stuff, and then we take it and we put it into our coaching business. And while the people that coach with us, are getting the same material from a functionality standpoint, we're customizing it to their specific needs. We're making adjustments, but at the end of the day, it's a proven, repeatable system that anybody who plugs into it, is going to do well, and that, how else does a guy like, Andrew Gadosh or Jeff Cook, Christy Moore, Lars Hedenborg, Albie Stasek, all these people come from an entirely different part of the country, different types of markets, but they all come to us, and in the worst market in history, they all became millionaires. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And obviously they still have to do the work, but they plugged into our system, and we work with them, and you coached them, and I coached them, and Cliff coached them. And, now they're, they have businesses that pretty much will take care of themselves,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you nailed it. It is the proven process. And part of the process is the discovery of what it is that they want to accomplish. What do they want to build? Mm-hmm. Lars, Christy, and Jeff, all three great examples, all three different visions, all three different passions, right? All three different goals. And so but they still trusted the process, right? Yep. They still went through and they followed and trusted the process. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really key is finding that. So that's a great example. What else comes to mind when you say, man, that's a great coach, right? What else kind of stands out to you that, a great coach really embodies?
Well, I chuckled when you were talking about being in line with your coach, because I remember, like, when we would do EGSs, people would run up to me afterwards. I just signed up for coaching, and I picked you so you could kick my ass. I had this. I had this. I don't know what to call it. I don't know. This image. People had this image of me that I was going to be like vicious and brutal to them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm more direct than the average person. But I think a really good coach, number one, does tell it like it is, doesn't sugarcoat things for you, doesn't just teach you best case scenario stuff. Number one. I think number two, they know how to put a good strategy in place and help you not just come up with a strategy, but implement it at a high level and show you where you're veering off course. A great coach has no problem telling you like it is, telling you the truth. And honestly, a great coach, in my opinion, is able to understand the difference between when it's time to talk about business and when it's time to talk about life. Because sometimes you get on the call. I mean, how many calls have you had in the last 10 years where they got on the phone and because we have such high emotional intelligence because we've been doing this for so long, they say two words and you're like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then so you're able to kind of step out and say, okay, because here's the thing. I mean, real estate is one of the very few industries where you don't come home, you're not coming home from work. Usually a lot of times work is at home for you. Do you work at home? And
sure.
And it's hard to get a separation between that. And, I think a good coach is able to, help people separate that, but also identify when it's time to kind of step back and say, okay, let's clear up this one issue that might be at home. Here's a solution so that they can take it and clear it up so they can go back and focus on doing their work, Yeah. And I think lastly, what made Jay and Mike so special when they were building coaching companies, that they were willing to look outside of the real estate industry to find solutions that would apply to their business, So that's why Dan Kennedy, Frank Kern, Jay Abraham, Jeff and Clayton Mask, who am I missing? There's other people. So, they, right, going to Zappos, going to Infusionsoft, what I'm saying? Really
working with Vern, with Crabtree.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Looking at all this stuff that had, zero to do with real estate, but everything to do with real estate at the same time. And I think a good coach is willing to take things outside of the industry and bring it back in. And I think the last thing is you got to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Like unfortunately, like Clubhouse has ruined my sleeping pattern very badly because I'm learning a lot. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years now. I'm still learning stuff, and it gives an opportunity for us to share and give things. But, you got to be humble enough to learn that there's stuff, like we always talk about, right? You got to, learn like you're going to live forever. So yeah. I think those are some of the bigger criteria for me. And I think, honestly, most importantly, you're able to build a relationship with your clients that goes above and beyond, being a coach. I mean, I just talked to Jeff Cook the other day. I talked to Christy Moore last month. You know what I'm saying? Ryan, really? You coached Ryan, did? Oh, Cliff coached Ryan. Ryan was on a thing the other day on doing a live on one company's page, and so I hopped on and said hi. You know what I'm saying? And so I think your ability to really build a relationship with them and have an impact on their life in such a way that you stay friends with them forever, I think is important as well.
Yeah, I think the big thing that a lot of people getting into coaching, hey, they're going to help me fix my business, and your business is not going to be fixed until you as the leader fix you, right? So there is that personal side, that element to where it's the whole we say you can't lead anybody else until you can lead yourself. So being able to coach them through that, be able to coach themselves through life, right? Through their relationships, through time, through everything that they have to do outside of the business, and that impact then will allow for them to pour into their business and their people at a higher level to be able to grow. And the business is only going to run as fast as the leader, and as long as the leader is growing and getting better, that it's so key. And I think that's a big get. What you just said about looking for in a coach is somebody that is continuing to grow and be better as well, right? Like every time, like I get a little notification, Wally's in Clubhouse again. You're learning something.
Yeah, I mean, last night I'm hopping on this Wednesday role play call, and just working with people and hearing them. And this lady said something last night during a role play that I would have never thought of, which I thought was genius. Nice, really successful. Sheila's somebody really successful agent, but she was role playing and she pulled something out of the bag that I was like, that's amazing. I'm using that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Here's one of the best things I've heard on Clubhouse yet. There was an agent in Richmond, Virginia, who was selling like a $750,000 house, and they had a stupid number of people that wanted to see it before it went on the market. And she went and talked with their broker, and they're like, hey, this house is going to need to be cleaned multiple times after all the showings. So if you want to see the house, it's $250. Shrunk the number of people who want to see it down to 5, who paid the $250 and left the check on the counter, and they used it to clean the house and then also to put towards some marketing. Brilliant.
I love
brilliant. Like brilliant. Like, I was talking to Alex Piak like a couple of weeks ago. He's like, I just, he had a $400,000 house on the market in McKinney. It was prosper, whatever. And he's like, I had 32 showings and like 15 offers. What a great way to whittle out the insincere people,
I love that.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, it's not even my idea, but I'm like, I love that.
I listened to Barbara Corcoran was on one of Gary V's podcasts the other 2 days ago. This week, it was one of this week's episodes, and Gary's just a little quick tidbits. So it's like 10. It's like less than 10 minutes, and how typical Barbara fashion. Right. She's a mess, and
nasty as all get out.
And so she was, a couple things that she had talked about is that, people want safety even more now than ever. And it's going to be part of our culture moving forward, right? The behavior. And so that has to be in all of our minds, safety first. So like the example that you just shared of that role play ties right into that, right? It gives peace of mind to not only the homeowner, but it gives, peace of mind to those that are coming through the home. And it really, like you said, if they're really serious in this market and not just trying to bounce through as many houses, man, I love that. That's a
Game
nugget
changer.
right there.
Yeah, right, for sure. That's more than a nugget. That's like a stone. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Can I layer something on what you just said, by the way?
Yeah, man.
I think is one of the things that we do as coaches is we help give people perspective on their business so that they do things the best way for themselves, their business, and their family. Meaning, some people are so hungry for a deal that they'll go run around, they'll literally drop what they're doing, go show somebody a house, won't check and see if they're pre-approved, won't check and see, if they have money, won't check and see if they're even going to be safe when they go see the house, and so it just creates, first of all, it creates a very bad pattern of, feeling, just basically a bad pattern of eventually feeling like you can't be successful. But also what it does is it makes you feel like you're not in a business, like you have a job, and so I like what we do as coaches and say, okay, so listen, you have to have minimum criteria for this, minimum criteria for that. For instance, I use this analogy all the time, go to McDonald's and ask for lasagna. I mean, maybe in Italy, you know what I'm saying? Go to McDonald's and ask for sushi. I mean, maybe in Japan, you know what I'm saying? But you can't go to McDonald's, you can't go to McDonald's and ask for something that they don't sell. And so as an owner of your own business, you've got to come up with what your minimum standards are and what your business is what services your business is going to provide. My business, we're not going to see a house unless you're pre-approved and you're going to move in the next 90 days and you have good credit and you've got some cash to put down or pay for closing costs. On the seller side, I'm not going to a listing appointment unless you're looking to sell within 90 days and that you've got a life event associated with moving, meaning a birth, God forbid, a death, marriage, divorce, having a kid, relocation, something that's like a hard life event, and that your motivation is at an 8 or higher to do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have these minimum criteria in your business so that you're not just doing everything you possibly can. The whole idea is not to throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. So, and I think as coaches, I think that's where we bring a lot of value to the table, is giving people structure and, rhythm, like we talk about rhythm in their business, and really help them, understand what they should and shouldn't be doing so that they can get the best results for themselves, their business, and even their family.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I think too, giving them a framework to get clear on what it is that they really want to accomplish. Right. And, I think it's a lot of agents, come in that, with ego and want, to build these massive teams and do all of these transactions. But, you got to be careful. Is that really what you want? Is that really the goal? What is the goal? And, I think the biggest thing that everybody is truly after, when you whittle away all of, whatever they're saying, the goal has to be freedom. And, if it's not moving you to freedom, then, are you doing the right thing? And are those activities, is that moving me closer to my freedom or not? And I think that, just comes with, like you said, man, just comes with the experience, just comes with being immersed in it for such a long period of time to where you have that realization. 20 years ago, it was like, how can we stomp on Pam and Barry? How can we put our foot on their throat? Whereas, now it's like, okay, well, what are we building that's moving us closer to freedom, to where, I'm not chasing transactions to be able to, keep the lights on. So it's just a little bit different perspective. And I think that's really what a great coach will help you, be able to pull those layers back and help you find what it is that you truly want. What do you see for the coaches in the real estate space, the industry? What do you see some of the biggest challenges? Like what's the biggest problem that you think most real estate coaches are facing?
The biggest challenge?
Yeah.
Ooh. I would say probably the number one, I've been selling coaching for a long time. I would say the biggest thing is differentiating themselves from other people out there. I think pretty much the same challenge that real estate agents are having. You know what I'm saying? Is how do I demonstrate that I'm going to get you what you want better than another coach that's out there, And so I think, being different, number one, and number two, a system that's actually going to help them achieve that freedom, to echo what you just said, with the exception of a few people, especially the older folks with the agents that have been in the business for a long time, who are looking to, stop doing something within the next 5 to 7 years. With the exception of those folks, pretty much every agent to the person says that they want to be the true CEO of their business. I ask them, I'm like, so what's the long-term goal? This. And I said, most times people come to us because they want to be the true CEO of their company. Means they work when they want to work. They don't when they don't want to work. And then they're making money off the efforts of other people. Is that what you want to do? And virtually everybody says yes. Right. And just to embellish, Coach Cliff, he's like, there's the 3 freedoms, right? Freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of location. Freedom to do what I want, when I want, where I want, and have enough money to make it happen. So yeah, I would say that's what, people are coming for us because they want to reach their goals. They want their freedom, pardon me for rubbing my eyes, and that, they want to be the CEO of their business, and they want to make sure that you have a system to get them there to do that. And that it's different than what other people do, And so, from my perspective, I believe we're one of the only companies out there that has the most well-rounded coaching program. You know what I'm saying? Other companies that are out there all offer something good. They're all good at something. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't think it's important, but they all, they either specialize in referral business, so they specialize in helping you become a really good real estate agent, or they specialize in teaching you how to prospect over the phone. You know what I'm saying? And we can teach you how to do all that, but also under the auspices of building a business, And think about going on vacation. You just don't throw all your crap in your car and arrive at your destination and say, okay, we're on vacation. You plan, you figure out where you're going, you put a plan together, and you start thinking about what you need to do for that vacation long before you get there. And that's what it comes to when you're building a business. 7 years from now, you're going to say, okay, I want a business. You decide that today and work towards it. You put a strategic plan together that basically reverse engineers everything back to current day. So you know exactly what you need to work on today. That's not only connected to what you want to do 10 years from now, but also that it helps you achieve your interim goals 1, 3, 5 years along the way. Sure. So. Right. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Obviously, that. I'm just
saying. No, and I love that. And it's just great to always to hear that. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles that I see for real estate, coaches and people out there that maybe want to be a real estate coach, is that they don't have, they're so rigid in their way. And it's not about, and they make it about them. Mm-hmm. I think that's the other challenge that I see in the industry as a whole. And it's not about you. It can't be about you. It's about helping, whoever you're trying to help uncover what it is that they're wanting to accomplish that. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the biggest things that I just kind of observing is, they're so rigid in trying to be right instead of helping people get to right. And that's ego, right? They're in love with their story. And so yeah, I think that's some of the biggest challenge that I see. And would just love for just love for more, to see people, out there helping more people, not only fix something in their business, but also helping them, just be better.
One of the things that I always loved about Jay and Mike, and certainly Brian Moses did this as well, and other people that we've kind of aligned ourselves with, is that there's no scarcity mentality. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here, have the entire system, right? Yeah. I mean, I coached Ali Satsas, who was 4 doors down from Mike's office at Keller Williams when we started coaching, right? They were in the same office. Yeah. We give Ali everything, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's what I like. I like a lot of things what we've done, but I think that's what I've liked most is that, if somebody needs something, we just send it to them,
Yeah.
I mean, certain things I don't send because we have to keep some stuff back for our coaching clients, right? We can't give it all away, but hey, listen, you want a video on time blocking? Here's a video on time blocking. Go watch it. It's 20 minutes long. You want you want a script on this, you want a script on that, you want to copy this, no problem. Here, have it. You know what I'm saying? Because I think at the end of the day, as we know, we said this before, it comes back to you multifold. And, I'm I think you're the same way. I believe you're the same way. Like I'm super passionate about, I want every agent to succeed. You know what I'm saying? I don't want anybody to have to get out of the business. If you're brave enough to quit your job and go get your license and try to create a better life for your family, then I want people to succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
No matter what. So if I can give them a leg up or give them some help, I'll do that. And I think it's important as a coach that we foster that kind of environment where we can help everybody grow. I mean, I've got people that I coach. There's a guy that I coached 4 years ago. He sends me an email every year. He says, "Can you send me the quad track?" Sure. I mean, he still does stuff with us, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying,
Sure.
Here, have the quad track. I mean, what's it going to
Yeah, there you go.
What's that to us? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
right. Yeah.
Anyway,
no, it really is. It comes from that abundance mindset and just trying to help everybody be better. And instead of, I think the other thing too that I see that's an issue is these jackasses out there pushing magic pills, right? And so there's no damn magic pill. It's effort. That's the magic pill. And I love the story with Jeff Cook. You told him, when he came in and he said, okay, here's what we're going to do over the next 3 years, right? We're not talking about what we're going to do in the next 90 days. We're going to focus on that. And we're going to focus on what you're doing this month. And we're going to focus on what you're doing this week. Mm-hmm. But we're going to lay out the plan, where you want to be. And let's focus on that 3-year run. And I think that's where a lot of folks, coaches, try to sell, hey, we'll double your business overnight. Bullshit, you will. Right. And so I think that's one of the big problems out there is a lot of phonies.
Snake oil salesmen, as they call them. Yeah. It's funny because from the day your license shows up at whatever brokerage you go to, you are easily at least 90 to 120 days from making a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Unless you get super lucky and you have a friend that said he was going to buy a house, even then you're still at least 2 or 3 months away. You know what I'm saying? So,
or even if you get plugged into a really high performing team, we've had people come in, that get plugged in and they're closing something, 45, 60 days, but that's you're plugging into a proven environment that you're able to plug in. But like you said, if somebody's not, they're brand new, just jumping in, unless, like you said, they already have a couple friends, in the hopper,
and so the reason I bring that to light is that, I've gone and done recruiting for some of my local clients. I've gone and spoken at the Champion School of Real Estate, just to talk to some folks and to help them with their recruiting efforts and teach them how to do some things. And, one of the things I say to them, I said, listen, here's the deal. Real estate is virtually one of the only businesses in sales where you have neither something to sell or somebody to sell it to, right? You got nothing. You're literally starting with thin air. The only thing you have is time, right? Good old Jim Rohn quote, right? Time is more valuable than money. You can always make more money. You can't make more time. So, what you do with that time determines how successful you're going to be, And so I don't think people realize that you have to really get connected with somebody who's going to teach you what to do, when to do it, how to do it when you first get started, so that you use your time wisely, so that you're not waiting the average 9 months that most agents wait to make their first deal. I couldn't have waited 9 months to make my first paycheck.
No way.
I mean, I had a decent amount of money at the bank at the time, but so I think it's important that, even as as a seasoned agent, your time is still your most valuable commodity, and what you're doing with your time may be different than what you did 5-10 years ago, but you still have to watch what you do with your time and manage it properly. And I think, having a coach who helps you understand that, and John Cheplak made a distinction. I heard him say one time, he said, it's not time blocking, it's priorities blocking, right? Yep. It's not time management, it's priorities management. So, we're managing and blocking these priorities and helping people understand that time management, time blocking is not a this thing, it's a this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Setting your goals and sticking to them is not a this thing, it's a this thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you need to understand it intellectually, but you got to get involved, viscerally and emotionally in order for you to go ahead and do the things you need to do to be successful. And, having a coach who can connect you to those things in that way is so helpful,
That and what you're talking about there, that when you're there, right, you get the heart involved, you get the emotions involved. That's where the commitment really comes in, and being really committed to it. I had a conversation with one of our clients, and he was kind of sharing, he's in an environment to where he's got some amazing leaders, and they were just talking through. He's like, great, got my 3 priorities. He goes, okay, fantastic. Share. What are they? And he knew 2, but he didn't know the 3rd. And he said, you're not, he said, the reason you don't know the 3rd one is because you're not committed to it. And I was like, whoa, that's powerful. So, really, really finding what it is that you can commit to, that, backwards and forwards. And, that's where, you'll take massive action and things start to happen.
Yep. And I think another thing that coaches really help people do is break through barriers that they haven't been able to get through, or overcome some limiting beliefs and things like that. What comes to mind is fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection, all those things. And the big difference between people who are super successful and those that aren't is that everybody feels fear. It's just the super successful people continue to move forward despite the fear. And having a coach who can help you get through that and work through that and give you some strategies to persevere will make all the difference in the world at the end of the day,
Yes, sir. I love it. So, what other nuggets you gleaned off of the old clubhouse the last few days?
That as much as we know, there's still a truckload more to learn. Like, it was interesting because I'm sitting there listening to people, and I'm like, okay, I got an answer for that. 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 But then all of a sudden I'm like, well, that's cool. Well, I didn't know that. Well, that's neat. You know what I'm saying? Because there's lots of successful agents out there who are practitioners that are doing some really, really creative and cool things based upon where they are in their market. So, trying to think here, what's another nugget that I got? We've been doing this somewhat with people, but there's lots of people out there that have really combined, like direct response programs with, a digital component, and, kind of like putting a postcard out there. Like, here's an interesting one. Guy does this. He, when he sees that somebody in his sphere or that his past clients, or in some cases, even, people that he's trying to get to do business with, when he sees that something happens for them in the public, if he sees them, like, they had a kid, or they just get nominated for something, or their kid just graduated, he sends them a text message and congratulates them, and then includes like a link to whatever it was. And he says he gets 100% response from that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was cool, right? Hear a lot of stuff on, the importance of being an expert and authority, and, branding yourself as not being out there saying, hey, look at me, look how good I am. But like Jay Brand. Did I lose you?
All right, got you back.
Okay, sorry. Being on my phone when a call comes, I know, disconnected. Sorry. I got to figure out what's going on with my camera on my computer. Sorry about that, buddy. So anyway, and so, like Jay Abraham says, strategy of pyramid isn't you jumping up and down going, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's you jumping up and down going, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, because all the amazing things I can do for you, how I can solve your goals, solve your problems, And so there's lots of that, and I think as an industry, people are starting to understand that at a much higher level,
Yeah.
And not just, because all the advertising back then was all, hey, I'm number one, I'm great. I remember seeing that ad that Craig Proctor said, it says, I'm outstanding in my field. And he was literally standing in a field, and even he makes fun of it, So, and I think also as an industry, we're really gravitating away from, excuse me, I'm with this company, I'm with that company, and just saying, hey, I'm the brand, I work with this company, and there's a lot of things they help me do for you. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's me that you're hiring.
Yeah.
So a lot of that going on, which excites me,
Yeah, for sure.
And 68%. I did this. I was working on. I was working on something. Maybe I was just putting the ISA program together for the boot camp we used to do. American Home Shield did a study. It said that 68% of the American public, does not trust real estate agents, and 75% of millennials do not trust real estate agents. So, I've been a lot of people last night because when I was with Holly, we got lucky. Grant Cardone popped into our room, which was very cool.
That was cool.
And I got to ask him a question, which was also very cool.
That is cool.
Yep. And so, but in that room before he popped in, we were talking about, like, what are we thinking about for the future for 2021 and things like that. And there were probably, I think, 10 moderators in there. And I think 8 of them, including me, said, that, we've got to meet our clients where they are. We've got to be authentic. We've got to, add value. We've got to be experts. We've got to deliver value and not be selling so much, and do what we can to build trust with people, especially now with all the uncertainty that's happening,
Yeah.
So I've been hearing a lot of that on Clubhouse too, just really making sure that, you're not getting online and just patting yourself on the back all day. Like, yes, you should put testimonials out there. I think it's mandatory if you're going to build a relationship, right? I mean, third-party endorsements is, a huge influencer for salespeople or any business people.
Must.
But being yourself, being authentic, building trust, building authority, credibility, a lot of that going on Clubhouse too. And if you're not on Clubhouse, find somebody that's got an invite. I got an invite very free. So if somebody wants to text me at 214-334-1356, when they get this, I'll give you my current invite. We get more on a regular basis, but text me. If you're the first person to text me, I'll go ahead and send you my invite. So anyway, so yeah, but it's good stuff, Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Like how was, because you're you and I have different styles, and we have different strengths. I think we're both strong in a lot of areas. We have different strengths. Like, how's your coaching approach evolved since you got started? You know what I'm saying? How's it evolved for you? What are you doing now that you didn't do 10 years ago? You know what I'm saying? When we started doing this, like, how's it evolved for you?
Mm-hmm.
And, why did it evolve that way? I'm interested in that.
Yeah, great question. And, for me in the beginning, it was my way, right? This is the way, this is how it's done. This is how you should do it. If you want to get the framework, here you go. And I think really over time, it's evolved into helping our clients, helping the people that I've had the opportunity to work with, kind of really get clear on what it is that they want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have clients in different industries. I have clients that are focused on, just accomplishing agent attraction, for example. That's
Mm-hmm.
all so we structure the principles that, have been proven and repeatable, our processes, because they're principles.
Mm-hmm.
And they apply to, if we're agent attraction, if we're trying to grow a real estate team, if we're just trying to grow, us personally out there slinging deals, inspection companies, it doesn't matter. It's all principle based. So, for me, it's really making sure to help our people uncover what it is that they're wanting to accomplish, and then let's apply the framework to help you get there. And the big thing, not lose sight of that, right? Not lose sight of that. And here, just over this, this last year, I guess, it's really, bringing that word freedom into the conversation a lot sooner, and helping them, uncover or start to explore to try to find their freedom, and making sure that we're setting up really good decision filters to where they're not going shiny object syndrome. And when, all the noise is coming at them, they have some filters to be able to run it through that, hey, is this going to move me closer to my freedom, or is this going to move me further away? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of conversations around that. A lot of conversations, accountability, execution, a lot of conversations on, building the team around you. And, I love Dan Sullivan's concept of who, not how, and helping our people change the first question out of their mouth is like, shit, how am I going to do that? And that's not the first question. The first question is, who can I get to help me accomplish this? Who can I get on the team? Who can I work with? Who can I collaborate with? So it's going who first. Jim Collins, right? Who, it's always who, before you try to figure the how. So that's my evolution of it over time. And, we have, different styles, but we're all still trying to get to the same outcome. You're still trying to help them accomplish, still trying to help. And so I think that's important to understand when you're looking for, somebody in the season of your life and the season of your business. That's really what you want to look for to be able to align with.
You've clearly you've succeeded at a very high level because you have a rabid raving fan club. You know what I'm saying? And when you did that what do you call it? That strategy session here in Dallas. I mean, the reviews were insane. And honestly, I think the fact that people flew during the pandemic to another state and then met, it wasn't a huge group. For whoever's paying attention, it was a very small group. We didn't get ththousands of people together, so they get COVID. It was very small intimate group. And they practice social distancing, so don't bust chops. But at the end of the day, people did all that because they wanted to meet with John so that he could help them format a plan for this year. And when you can have people move mountains to come spend time with you so you can add value to their business, you're doing something right. So, so kudos to you for that. So I think, excuse me, what's always struck me as interesting is why people are leery of coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't think they need a coach, why they're leery of it. And to a certain extent, it's kind of like, why some people are leery of real estate agents, right? Because they had a bad experience or they didn't get what they wanted, And, sometimes people didn't do what they were supposed to do. The coach told them what to do and they didn't do it. And they were like, they put that on the coach instead of themselves. But, I don't know of any way. First of all, I don't believe there's no such thing as a self-made person. Self-made millionaire, self-made billionaire. You always had people helping you along the way. Sure. They may not have been the key, you may have been the key factor, but we always have people that help us accomplish things. You know what I'm saying? Huh?
100%.
And I'm not aware of anybody that didn't have a mentor to help take them to the next level. There's a reason why people show up somewhere between 25 and 50 homes a year. You know what I'm saying? For us to coach them, to help them out, or they're at 100 and they want to get to 200. Right. And the reason is because they've tried everything themselves. They've done everything they think they can do themselves, and you can't come up with an idea that you're not, that you don't have the, the background or whatever to create that idea, So, and look, you can go online all day long. There's lots of really smart, good real estate agents out there. There's lots of good real estate coaches that drop a ton of value online. But at the end of the day, those are just like Band-Aids or gauze or whatever, or small stitches on a wound. You probably could get a little further along, but unless you have like a long-term, regular relationship with somebody who's going to take you by the hand and guide you, help you avoid a stupid amount of mistakes, and then help you make the right decisions on a day-over-day basis, it's going to be hard to grow, and I think so, it seems like it's a lot of money, but it's not really a lot of money. And if we were able to quantify for you all the missed opportunities that you had and all the money and time that you wasted, it would probably be, the coaching would be a fraction of what you'd probably blow and do something stupid with, Yeah. I mean, the two biggest mistakes that real estate agents make, number one is they pay for leads and they don't give them the effort that they deserve. And number two, they try to get out of production too soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the two biggest mistakes they make.
Yep.
So anyway.
Brother, I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you. It's a good conversation.
Slinging the knowledge as always. And man, that's what coffee and coaching is all about. Just having some really good conversations, and look forward to having you on more frequently in the future.
Anytime, man. I love you.
Appreciate you. Love you too, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
You guys listening in, if you want to maybe take the conversation a little bit further, jump over to coachkitchens.com. There's a little link there, a little button, book a call, and we'll get on the phone with you and see how we can help you.
All right, boss. Appreciate you. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
See you guys.